in the middle of the streets. In the bright glow of the dawn, I see myself clearly, bringing in a new day. The old way of doing things is done. I don't care what you say. Watch, don't sleep under your bed. They sleep inside your head. And if you haven't done the shadow work, and left behind is where you stay. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, tones, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the street. We gotta protect plus homeschool. Our babies is a must. They not just no moms, but also no posses. Mola, worshiping pedophiles, wanna feed our children's spirits to robots. Turn all of us from carbon-based to silicone-based. Should be where the shit show stops. Get back to doing for ourselves. Water system irrigation and grow crops. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, tones, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets. I'm saying I'm not some master teacher, no am I some pastor or preacher. Was released from prison with this passion to speak of. After doing 25 years in the beast cuffs, realize they tried to teach us spiritual, mental, physical diet. They tried to feed us the fire of our ancestors resides in each of us. With that, I'm inspired to turn this heat up. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to war with this beast. Through tones, melodies, tones, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets.
We're really approaching almost like it's a Frankenstein moment, and they're framing it to us as innovation, right? We should all be so excited that this is happening, and I equate it to like the golem bringing in like these robots. They would like to feed our life force to learn us in every tiny detail, not to empower us, but to actually transform us into a robotic simulation that is under their full control.
Just make it smell good too, huh? Yeah.
Nah, bro. Come on. Yeah. Come on. You're almost there, bro. Almost there. Survive. Go ahead. Push up. I do it down for Chi-Town. Who am I but Chi-Town? You young fool, I'm too fly to just slide down. Blue sky but high ground. A crown slash helmet. So my aircraft still spit. Can't be tied down, my evil seat belted. I look down, I see green like a Celtic. My heat pulverizes, the cheese is melted. The remnants of cash money, I dispelled it. You did the fusions in my eyes, I beheld it. The finger fucked it, caused my hand, I dealt it. Felt it vibrate from the gut of my pelvic. It was awful, some ice and some velvet shit. So radiant, I keep a dark room well lit. Cause you little goofies are well quick. Body for real, monkey velvet. Body you not for Mars, so females clip. As a kid, all I did was fight. I did the bit with a knife. I know I can spit my flows to shit. To a fly, though haters wanna crucify a real man. I still stand with the silver hand, but we're healer man. It's not cyber shield, I'm turtle sheep. I'm one tough cookie, I don't follow our set standards. Catch me, you gon' have to do more to scamper. Need more to scanners, I'm off the radar. I am as you goofies play God. Some worship the Christ, others pray to Allah. Chase a high, drink paper okra. You stagnated, well I straight evolve. At a rate, I'm data space AC, y'all. Buster stuck in the case, face off. Active shape, state is a fake, a fraud. That'll start intergalactic, my mindset. Perfect construct, so I rhyme best. I excel like I'm climbing a step. You got a lot to learn. I am adept, you of no concern. I am a threat. My measurement, width, lift, height, and depth. I'm just piracy, up. Flying a jet, straight to adversary. Martial Chronicles like Ray Bradbury. I'm a thorough guy, goddammit. Symmetric apparel, or fly bandit. Mohawk, aviators, aerodynamics. And it's like I'm an arrow in precise transit. A Christmas Carol lives with your fans get. Your rose and pearls, what I transmit as a transcript. Or I just spit it off the top to see the shit or get off the block. This shit's hot.
Did his own crew. Everybody wants to get his own crew rich. And then go to other
Louisiana, Carolina, Zataran. Good shit. Like dirty hash potatoes, but it's really, really good.
Young people, old people.
Somebody used to make at a restaurant on I think it was Fridays and Saturdays, you know, for the drinking. They would come in the restaurant in New York. Who's that dirty? Mississippi. Well, they say Alabama, but I said Carolina. Dirty hash it. I'm back here right now chopping potatoes and onions and peppers. I'm back here chopping potatoes, peppers, and onions. I got to get the sweet and the smoked paprika, and I got to get the right peppercorn. But boy, let me tell you, everybody who didn't even eat them had their eggs sunny side up. And I'm talking about with a white face and a yellow eye.
From the skybox, you got smoke on you pilgrims. The smoke with some real. Some of our folks still dumb. Yeah, they're blasting the fact that, bro, we gon' have this real show. Warrior spirits inside me. That's where it's real from.
Lavender, black tea,
out. They keep us engaged.
and dandelion. Right. Give it a try. I'm gonna show y'all a tea I drink, right? And women, y'all might know about this. Men, pay attention.
Who blows the whistle? To who holds the whistle? It's about who holds who the circle. Regarding the aboriginal issue. We're not going back and forth about this or that. Whether your word is on the way. It's a big fact. Yellow, white, red, brown, black. Big back. But the earth is brown or black. We want our shit back. A fool is known by his speech. Yet if I don't speak, I suffer defeat. I'm other than we. A sucker or me. Stand on 2 feet or jump the other cheek. The wise man know by his silence. Who see the skies combine. Silence by guys. Fuck conspiring to nervous. Conspirers and fights. Terrorists and fire. Trying to hide. I'm trying to fight. In the virus and murders, I'm here as a terrorist. Bring up my head, they've got indictments.
You know what? I'm gonna put it in my pocket. I usually put it in my hat. You know what I mean? Yo, Dad, Millennial. What's up, Mama? I can't read your name in Russian, but appreciate you. I'm focused on ascension. Oh, that's what's up. Tom, what's going on, Tom? What's happening, beloved? What's happening? What's going on, y'all? I know it's a little loud, so I hope you still heard me. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't, I'll probably be hashing again because it's about hash. I hope everybody comes in because I didn't want to put the proper thumbnail and I didn't want to put something there that would grab everybody. I really don't want everybody to see it. But this is for you guys. This is a little something for y'all to look at again. I'm holding off. I keep saying to myself, do I want to do this? Because it's getting to the point where people are seeing it. You know, like the music playing. And you know, it's not a secret. I like to keep everything. Y'all want to condition a groom to see certain things. And I don't want you to create something. I want you just to listen and then see. If y'all been doing the breathing and meditation and you've been looking at the sky, you'll start realizing the sky is not what you see. That is. You will see the black and white. It's almost like you create what you see. It doesn't matter what they're doing, aerosol. It's just like when you look at the earth. It'll start to break up and not look as it usually does. Now, I'm not giving you some mysterious, mystical crap. I'm getting you away from the mysterious, mystical crap, which is, to me, fun. But for you, it's not a good place. And for an individual that asks, this thing is controlled anywhere from 58 to 75% by this AI. Y'all just need to know this. But don't have fantasism. Don't. It matters not. But what I'm going to speak about, we'll see. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Thank you, Millennial. We don't worry about those idiots. That's what they do. And if he actually knew, I bet you the Pope might reach out to him and tell him, or the AI, stop. Y'all don't hear nothing from the Pope, right? They're kind of relaying unimportant, but certain things are being paid attention to. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Now, the T brothers, now women, you might know about this. I really enjoy this. I had to get a different brand because I couldn't find the one, but this is a woman-owned company. And this tea right here, it is not that blue crap, whatever. All right, methylene. This right here, take a screenshot and look it up. Now, it's different brands. This one of my favorites. And the page, I think right before or after I came out, I tried this on the res 6 years ago or something, 5 years ago. And I kept finding newer ones, but this is the original, woman-owned. Fabulous tea. Told you the women are the strength. All right, stay away from these homosexuals. Nothing against them, because there's some who want to listen and they come over and they're like, and I tell you know, they're people who I know from New York. They know that I protected them. Y'all have no idea how many times homosexuals get stabbed, jumped, beat. And our job is to protect. You know what I'm saying? Law, you know. And I got Tyrone's dating a girl again. And I told him, bro, just don't let her go, man. Don't go back to booty banging. And he laughing. And he's one of the ones you would never know is gay. He's got sons and daughters. He got locked up. I don't know. I didn't want to know his story. But you need to know there are those out here who are trained, will protect you, ain't going to hit on you. And we got to get away from the thing of the perversion. But the majority of them, there's a perversion deeper than you can know. Stay away from them. Stay away from them, because they'll drag you in and mess you up. Like, have you all and get you locked up and all that other stuff. That's what I'm saying, all right? I got somebody who's back in Camden, did beat up. Well, anyway, he's about to do 10 to 15, and keep your faculties, all right? Just don't do it. There are a lot of good guys and girls out there. Don't get caught up with the perversion. Just don't. And the majority of you got perversions around you. You have people who are quiet, and they would like to stay to their life. I have to say that because I can't qualify homosexuality. I can't. It's unrighteous. It ain't right. But I can't condemn. I'm not Levitical. Most social media saviors are fake. Marks once we make knowledge born is when. Regardless, right? Just don't get caught up in it, because there's a lot of things going on. A lot of people getting caught up, and they're doing things. It's right now. I'll tell you, you don't have to go and pay attention, because they'll drag you under if you're weak. Weak doesn't mean you're infallible. You're weak. Just listen, all right? That's it. So I just found that out, so I said I gotta speak that first. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up. All right? Not a good thing. Don't do it. I know some of you might want to be like real deep religious. Nah, if it's struck down, it's not up to you. We're beyond that point. Seriously, we're beyond it. You'll see when I start talking about what I'm gonna talk about. You'll see. I hope.
I shop because of her, but she's the best part. A great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates this spark. Wage the heart as I sun ray my art, her made the patriarch. Most social
that is strong. That is strong. Wow. That is strong. Wow. I like strong, like coffee. When I have tea, I like it to be like coffee, literally. That's like South America. Literally like coffee. It is. I just like it like that. I don't have no goat milk. I wish I had some goat milk. I'm out of honey, so. Oh. Can't play that one, guys. You know. They're biodegradable. They're biodegradable and they're good for the soil. So.
And I got so much more to say. I want peace. It seems that war
is coming.
I want you feast that I can't seem to stomach. I want increase for industry things.
Hold on, man.
And I got so much more to say. I want peace.
The war is coming.
I want you peace yet I can't seem to stomach. I want increase for industry things plummet. So I summon from within.
From within.
Angels and demons like Dan Brown. If you angling and scheming, stand down. It's arranged changement, scripted, planned out, strange. We understand now how they ran the damn town. Came on land, handed out books, scriptural to the literal. But if you question it, they got rid of you. Democrat, Republic, conservative, liberal. Who's ever tuned you, same party you attend is political. It's clear. They rather have you vote the queer way. Controls the confusion, using a cavalier sway. Conspiracy theories condemned for fear's sake. Most what they call history is merely hearsay. You offer salat or pray to them we'll pray. Since a lot of y'all wolf, then let's hope this year makes the year for a clear break. Angels language, devil's dialogue, anguish used to keep us languid within the tankage. Aim is to ensure we remain in language, brainless with no heart, cowards framed in anguish. This pain is tameless. I've earned the right to set ablaze the day and burn the night. I'm not an L-Bay or day, nor bright burn, but I burn bright. Yearn to fight the lion, done learn to write. What you feed the mind determines the appetite. Vibrate at my highest interference to the satellite. Like I've been little my whole life. Had to fight, got foreigners and aliens in my battle site. I'm more Anazazi than Nazarite. Most you bloggers are babblers and acolytes. Now they y'all act alike. Society's in an uproar. Our people still bickering amongst each other as if the world isn't listening. Division is the tradition. I'm using supremacy.
Lance, what's up, baby? Yeah, it was happening. What's that, mama? My neighbors, they mine coffee. Yeah. I drank some yesterday. It was freaking good. Yo, I got to get some of that 100% cacao. That's my favorite. You know? Drink it straight. Yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, honey. Lance, peace, beloved.
Wait till y'all out with this next cyclone bring the Queen Mother's throne king. I'm more enlightened now that I've dropped you. This might shock you, then again it might not. Yet I opt to. You move like how a cop do. I will think outside the box you to stop you. What's a savage to the sacred? You like average, basic. Need more than your tablet and apps to combat with this creative. Deflate the hatred. I give love. If it's not reciprocated, no love lost. Straight my natural state is. And I'm not getting my prime, y'all. This rhyme's called Angel's Language, Devil's Dialogue. You hit a firewall. The final call, it's your time to fall my lighter, blind them all. Let's not I be single with no further ado. I bring to you live and direct myself, tired son, Kingle, doing my thing too. Show. This just know I remember everything. And I'm coming for everything they owe. For sure. I teach you.
Teach you what?
Yeah. I'm in my own zone. Within my own home. I'm in my own throne. My own skin, no clone. All along going in for the wind, ozone, 10 toes strong, closed doors are opening, siphoning, my own tone, microphoning, my own song, on my own right and my own wrong. My own masters, I'm my own master, and that to my own loan. I'm in my own zone. Within my own home, I'm in my own throne. My own skin, no clone. I'm in my own zone, from the hip to the thigh bone, from the lip to the microphone. I'm like a disciple stone, yet much larger than this fleshly vessel, more like an architectural lecture with its trestle board. Polished and tougher, I embraced the struggle, broke free from the dome, I escaped the bubble. They say trust the signs with somebody's line. Try my patience, I'm aligned with Mother Nature, frying these agents at this dying matrix. I'm in my own zone, within my own home. I'm in my own throne, my own skin, no clone. Since 1970, there I was born. Robert Taylor's 92nd, Axis, Buckingham to one. First Sister Clever Homage School. Then
Sapphire Bay.
Academy. This before I went public, still stuck with self adamantly. Spark from the infinite. See the sun, I'm equivalent. The eminent instrument of the eminent village militant. Break it down in increments. We're the land of immigrant, misogynist and feminist. Restore the innocent. Half rich of Indians, round pegs and square holes. Kindred spirits and rare souls. Discard the scarecrows. Better yet, the straw man. The full rhetoric of the raw man. It was us European soul, and ever since squatted on our land. Slaughtered our clans. Chartered our shares, auctioned us through birth certificates, social security, bartered our branches, census, or the doll's rolls, religious books, or lost scrolls. Everywhere we turn, crossroads to relearn a more is most mold. I'm not talking horse code. Purge the family tree. They infected the bloodlines of the autochthonous Niji. Brought with them
infected the bloodline of the autochthonous Niji.
Calendar holidays turned the rainbow to a gay flag. They made treaties with tribes they recognized federally, ineffably. They were in cahoots with the Iroquois Confederacy. It's my destiny, along with the ancient ones, to return.
My mom's side.
They owe. I don't mean government sanctioned funds. I got other artistic notions of mine. That's how I've flown.
That's why my uncles jumped my father. Oh yeah. I know my history going way back, y'all. I know literally my history going way back. Oh yeah. Bumblebee. My Uncle Reggie looked like a little Chinese. I'll put a picture up with me and him. And my Uncle Gary, 6'7". They jumped my father. My father a scrapper, you know what I'm saying? Hellified fight. When people would tell me about it, I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. On both sides. Yeah, my Uncle Reggie, he's like 5'6". My Uncle Gary's 6'7". Blood brothers. Blood brothers. And I know different mother and father. I'm telling you. My mother looked like a lotus flower. My Aunt Joe, she looked like a Brazilian warrior goddess. I'm not lying. You know, I'll put the pictures up. My Aunt Inca, my other Aunt Maya.
And my music, and a lot of this music, it's only talking about the oppressed rising up against the oppressed.
I asked y'all to see what's the relationship between the dragon and the wolf.
The oppressed rising up against the oppressed.
I know you ain't look. I know.
The only people who could have any harm coming to them are those who oppress. Simple as that.
Y'all better look.
No way, lesser. Drop the oppressor. Ain't no surrender. 3 pound pressure. No way, lesser. Drop the oppressor. Need no surrender. 3 pound pressure. No way, lesser. Drop the oppressor. Need no surrender. 3 pound pressure. No way, lesser. Drop the oppressor. Need no surrender. It's time for a change that boss up. Oppressor's about to get tossed up. Execution style. You rapped at a coca flame, by God, it's overdue. Your time is to the end. Lock Josh silent with without sin. He put me on the better with justice the way I feel. Presence about to get rolled on. With some presence attached in the war zone. Revolution can start in the air zone. I'm a messenger popping like Terracone. Backed by the honorable who sits at the pinnacle. Who judges the hypocritical, cynical, and the pitiful simple. My thinking is critical. I'm just ventilating of the actions of the protective service. Quick to pull the Glock, blast and kill. This don't take any kind of skill. No, I'm ill of all citizens who haven't took a stand. Or kneels too late when the caps get pills. Don't believe the GC type. Going hits close to home.
They want to land on me.
When it got the dome, when it's on the zone, all red in my vision through sight.
They're flying right here like they want to land. I put my hand out and take off.
So you better
That's
be ready
weird.
to ride tonight. On the way to the dawn daylight. We gon' let them out, so gon' pass the kite. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean in the ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme.
Yes, Fatah Hussein, Tupac, know all of them.
Taught that from school, everywhere, big business. You want to be successful.
Just regular people.
Gimme. Push. Step. Crush.
Have an extraordinary existence, worldly.
Nobody ever stop.
Some I removed myself from. I couldn't be manipulated, you know. Oh, they got a new Canic out too. I gotta see that. I gotta go see. I gotta see what it's like. I gotta go to the gun store. I had the first 2 Canics. I sold them bastards, man. They were good too. Made in Turkey. But I want to see this new one. There we go. All right. So we got like 3-4 minutes. Hopefully everybody comes in. Let me pull up the little information. All right. That I want to be looking at. Okay. I like this quote by y'all know I have his book, but this quote, we don't need that right now. Let's turn it down. Because I'm going to let y'all listen to something as well. There we go. James Baldwin has this statement he made 72? I forget what year it was. We can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my existence. He says humanity. We know what the word means, but humanity and right to exist. And he went to France. You know, he was homosexual, but he was a good brother. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate the fact that he did what he did. He was able to debate and call people on their stuff, on their false merits of collusion and ideologies. As you know, he debated someone, was it Oxford? I think it was. It's been a while since I even watched that debate. You can pull it up on YouTube and all that. And he was one that, you know, used to play Cowboys and Indians, based on Mickey Rooney. But you didn't know that when they were shooting and killing the Indians, you were the Indian, but you were also the cowboy. The dilemma of the whitewashing is real. It's not to spook people and throw shade in the wind. But what does it attest to? Why are the Zionists so rampant? There are comedians who have millions of subscribers, Jewish ones, who are talking about this stuff because they detest it. Are they part of it as far as maybe the offshoot of something to say this is wrong all of a sudden when it wasn't being stated in the very beginning? It's not for me to say. But the thing is, they're pulling up a lot of information that is kind of, it's not baseless, it's factual. You know what I mean? General, I mean, some hints is depicted as a wolf or dragon wing. That's simple. You got to go deeper than that, beloved. But what I'm alluding to is time and time and again, we still have a lot of people arguing their place. And then now we're starting to find that, and the F.B.A, the Foundation of Black Americans, I just really would like to see that go away, the term, because there's people who got some knowledge, and they're still kind of holding on to that Africa thing at the first being here or whatever, and they still have a lot to learn. But they've gotten to the point where it's not playing into the game like, okay, we're just going to go ahead and keep arguing with these idiots who refuse to accept the truth. They've moved beyond it because they know that it's meaningless. Why argue with the people if you know who you are? And the facts point to this. And so I'm not into that. Who we are, we're beyond that Indian state claim bullcrap. We're beyond that. There's something going on, and it's very dark. It's not mysterious. But I want you to have an understanding, a deeper understanding, and appreciate that. Now, Sean Ryan loves when we use their stuff. And I was going to download a couple of his videos because it comes to my Gmail where I can download it. And I was going to do a little video with this interview. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually play it as far as how to destroy a family. And I want you to listen, all right? I really want you to listen. You know what I'm saying?
First thing that an authoritarian regime does when it wants to take over a society is it ruthlessly destroys the family.
You think every man should...
Let's start it from
the
beginning.
first thing that an authoritarian regime does when it wants to take over a society is it ruthlessly destroys the family.
You think every man should have to serve the country.
You have an entire generation of young people who are no longer resilient. In 1973, there were two things that radically changed how Americans view themselves, how men and women view themselves. I see kind of all of history as a war between the family and the state.
What do you mean by that? The attack on the American family?
Yeah, no, it's I wrote a speech that I gave a couple months ago where I really started talking about how I see kind of all of history as a war between the family and the state. These two big institutions. One is, you know, and it goes back to Plato. It goes back to like the Republic, the Greeks, right, where the entire philosophy of the Republic is that perhaps the state can take better care of a society than these institutional families. And so when you look at you go back through history and you see that, especially authoritarian regimes, the first thing that an authoritarian regime does when it wants to take over a society is it ruthlessly destroys the family. So you mentioned the one-child policy in China. That was an attack, a deliberate attack on the family from an authoritarian regime. And the purpose of it was, it was for national interest. They talk about, we couldn't, we wouldn't be able to supply enough people with food. But what it really was to weaken the only institution that can ever combat the state, which is the family. And so I'm a pretty conspiratorial person. I think there's been a concerted attack on the family to strengthen the state, particularly for the last 50 years. But it's been done in very specific ways, in legal ways, through the education system, through the medical system, and it is deliberately destroyed. And you see it through the birth rate, like we talked about in the beginning. Fewer and fewer people want to have families, and it's because of this deliberate attack on the family. And I wrote this piece called "The War on Suffering," where I've been very vocal about the fact that I think everything in America changed in 1973. Everyone always there's this website called WTF happened in 1971. And it points to, that's when we came off the gold standard. That's when, regulation started.
The food stamps and its creation was created for the light-skinned woman, the white woman. 1943, was it after the first 1942, World War II and the fall? It was 40 something. Anyway, they say it goes back before that, or the capitulation of the truth of it. And then our families were very strong. We have always, even up to now, we have been in our families more than anybody. You can research this. I'm not just throwing it out there to grade us. We're great people regardless. But I want y'all to listen and know these things. And it's not to demean we have to stop. There's an insatiable appetite for a lot of ignorant ass immigrants on our soil of the light of persuasion, and even of Africa and stuff like that, who have bought into that usurp that utopian lie based on these dumbass colleges that are still pushing that shit to which they shouldn't. Let's carry on.
Exploding in America, what happened in this year where, you know, everything bad in America started like from this moment where you just see just complete change in a lot of things around America. And I've always said that that might have been the economic change that happened in America, where financialization started and where, you know, housing became so expensive, where it became ridiculously expensive to afford healthcare or education. But in 1973, there were two things that radically changed how Americans view themselves, how men and women view themselves, and ultimately what I think is sort of the impetus and start of this sort of unraveling of the family. And I've said this a lot publicly on what I think changed for men, which was 1973 in January. Nixon did the most profound and most popular thing that he ever did during his presidency, which was that he ended the draft. It was unanimous. It was, you know, coming off of Vietnam. It was like a unanimous thing that everyone loved. Everyone knew it needed to happen.
Not just that, for the state to become bigger than what it is, he ended the gold and silver, which called, but because of the Zionist Federal Reserve is not owned by this government nor this country. All right, we know who it is. And that was to take the gold and silver standard completely away. Because you remember the $2 bill still had the blue ink mark and something written. You know that it still applied as far as silver. And it had actually stated on it, and that had to be weaned out. That was to get us to this position, and it would take wars to continue it. And you remember the CIA agent, you know who, one of them, with the sold out dumb sister, just like Soros used the lesbians to push their agenda. And I have to say this to the gay community, sadly, there's nothing normal about you feeling the way you do, partaking in the things you do. It is scripted. It was created. Sadly, you all have fallen victim to it.
That we're going to be an all volunteer force, and we're going to allow people to choose to serve their country. And of course, this is something that even today, people, you know, our military celebrates the fact that we don't have a draft, that, you know, this is part of American culture. But I think what it fundamentally said to young people is that it is a choice to serve. It is a choice. Not everyone does it. Only the people who want to. They might want to do it for economic reasons. They might want to do it for love of country, but it is not something that everyone has to do to serve and defend their country. And if you think about it, throughout human history, that is the first time that a country has said to young men, your purpose on this earth is not to defend where you live. And it was codified. It was like, that is not the purpose of manhood. And then 10 days later, it was only in 2023 when I was writing this piece that I actually even realized this. 10 days later, the female equivalent happened where Roe v. Wade passed from the Supreme Court. And that had a similar impact on women, where it used to be for all of human history, your purpose on this earth is to have children, is to have a family. And this was the first time, and in Western, you know, Western society too, a lot of nations copied us after it, but this was the moment that really changed, where 10 days after, men were told your purpose is not to
gotta have my mic over.
Women were told your purpose is not to have a family, it's your choice. Wow. And so it completely changes the view of how men, this was the moment that really changed, where 10 days after, men were told your purpose is not to serve, women were told your purpose is not to have a family, it's your choice. Wow. And so it completely changes the view of how men view themselves and how women view themselves.
We came into existence to create families and increase the numbers. We can increase the population 40 billion, 60 billion, and there's more than enough food. If we were all growing fruits and vegetables, they weren't killing the female trees, all harming the bees, and the animals were never meant to be eaten. There's frequencies that are broken, and people have been brought into it because they've been nurtured into it. We're literally not supposed to eat meat. There's a reason why our ancestors seasoned all the meat after the war because of the starving. What happened to Natchez, which is an Indian group, and Negroid people, and as you know, the punch bowl. And there's a reason why. It's a slap in our face because we went peacefully. And this is, you see it now, the false excuses. Hamas, created by Netanyahu and the very bastards of civilization, the parasitical Neanderthal hybrids. And it was played out here like it was in every other country. As long as they can destroy the original and assert themselves, but by what design and by whom?
All in 1973, January, 10 days. And it's like, I would say there's a lot of people who would say, well, these are all good things. It's really good that there's choice in America. Not everyone should have to serve their country. Like not everyone, men and women shouldn't have to go to war, or women shouldn't have to become mothers. But what we didn't do in that moment is we didn't provide anyone an alternative purpose. We didn't provide men and women anything that says, actually, the purpose of manhood is this, or actually the purpose of womanhood is this. We just said, go figure it out yourself. Actually, maybe there is no purpose. In the 70s, like there was this very clear, kind of, I would say almost like nihilistic culture of, well, nothing really matters anymore. Like you can do whatever you want. And like that I think has permeated, so much of society where we don't even believe suffering should exist anymore. It's, it's like the suffering for your country is why would anyone do that? Suffering for your family, why would you do that? But I think the minute that we destroyed, the unique purpose of woman, which for, you can't debate that for millennial, that was the purpose of women, was to bear children, to have family. And then the unique purpose of man, which is to fight. The minute that we destroyed those purposes, men and women stopped relating to each other. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know what their purpose was. They didn't know how they could relate. And when you look at it from that framework, the family was destined to fail from that moment.
Y'all can go and pull it up yourselves. On Sean Ryan. I mean, y'all gotta even think about Alice Cooper. His purpose of finding Alice Cooper, the musician, right? His thing was to finding purpose through God. And it's sad that they have to use these things to do it. But as far as Sean Ryan, go over there, Sean Ryan clips and everything. You'll see who that female is. And I just don't want to throw it all over here. But Sean Ryan, he has magnificent. He's ex-Navy SEAL. I think he's half Korean. Peep him out. Subscribe to his channel. Regardless of what role he made, he was a CIA contractor. And watch that for yourself, okay? Now, what we're dealing with, I wanted to say, beat this, because I left a message for this idiot to call me back. In Arizona and most of this country, everything, and I told you there's 3 common law courts and they're off soil. But the laws here, the court and all of them, they function in that. But the problem with what this is and being served, that's civil. See, I'm not going to throw everything out on here because, like I said, I study things and I research things. And that's why I say the court is nothing but a kangaroo operation. These esquires are making money and they use all these things, libels to, it's like police talking to you. You think they're a friend because, oh, really? Where were you heading? Oh, wow. Do you have any drugs? And then they ask you again, do you have any opium and heroin? And here you are with your family, you're traveling. Do you have over money exceeding, because they want to steal it? The law is corrupt. It's a collaboratory thing. And should that exist based on the Constitution when the police don't follow it, but they take an oath to the Constitution and the Constitution of the fictional state, and then they go out and they act accordingly, which is a perversion, just like the court systems. Because we look at how many people have been locked up, and they said, well, crack cocaine, and it was deliberate because the CIA, Mossad, just came in and through worthless Negroes and brought it into the community. And cocaine in its purest form is powder. That is more deadlier than the crack, which is different ways you can, baking soda, whatever, cook that crap up, but in a small amount. But you saw the destruction of it. It was with purpose. The very ones who are supposed to be outside protecting the country from foreign affairs are the ones inside deliberately destroying it, even right now, just like the F.B.A. With the race baiting soldiers, regardless of the Negroes that y'all starting to see when you look at Alfred Tatum, you see those Negroes who have self-hate, an delusion, because they want to be everything other than who they are and what they're supposed to be. And they've colluded, and it's worse than you can imagine. But what is it? I always warn these so-called melanated people, individuals, or whatever you want to call them, that at the end of the road, it'll be 1,000 times worse for them what is to come, regardless of what it may be. And I don't care whether they believe it or not. It's not for me to facilitate that. When you look at China's one-child policy, was a population control policy implemented from 1979 I believe around 2015, as I stated before. But let's pick it up and let's have a look. Okay, restricting most urban families to 1 child and some rural families to 2 if the first was a girl. The policy aimed to curb rapid population growth and its perceived negative impact on the economy and resources. While it may have slowed population growth, it also led to unintended consequences like a skewed sex ratio, an aging population, and social and ethnic concerns. Homosexuality became a big thing in China, for those who don't know that. And still is. All right? Same thing in Japan, sadly. But they didn't have that 1-child rule stuff. They've been having a hard time because a lot of the older generation is outnumbering the young generation. And some of y'all don't know that, but you should look at it. You know what I'm saying? But as far as an authoritarian government can attack the family unit through various means, including controlling reproduction, as we see, and they've normalized it in the most ignorant of us, and restricting women's rights and undermining traditional family structures. This can involve limiting access to contraception, abortion, and prenatal care, as well. But that's the gimme. You see that wordplay? Even that is part of the systemic problem, because contraceptions, based on the the AIDS and stuff they created, right? And the parental care, as well as promoting specific gender roles and family structures that align with the regime's ideology. When you look at all these people that came to Texas from Cali with the stripping at the steakhouse place and the little men's dressed up with women with the boobies out on the stage and doing all that in front of the children, they're all pedophiles. They're all sick and delusional. The real mental capacity, you know what I'm saying, of the state is destruction. And furthermore, authoritarian regimes may use the family as a tool for social control, targeting individuals and families for punishment or intimidation based on their perceived disloyalty or dissent. Perceived, when it's not disloyalty, you're supposed to tell the state not today, but they'll let the homosexuals and lesbians do it when that's not the position, because it's saying good for the goose is not good for the gander, calling the pot, the pot of the kettle black, when on this one side, they're leaning towards that because it fulfills their whole diorama. The vaudeville show must go on, sadly, and they're too ignorant to know it, and most people are too. But I don't want you going out there jumping on and beating up people because you're emotionally unstable and you feel like they're to blame. They didn't create the drug glyphosate and all the other stuff. They don't put the heavy metals in the food and everything. That change in the soy, which the GMO soy plays a major role in changing your dynamics as far as your estrogen or your testosterone levels. That's science. All right. That is a weapon. What is science based upon? Something that was never meant to be messed with or merged with long ago. There's something ancient that has probably come back and it's being fed. It's probably here, waiting to be showcased. And I don't think y'all get how important it is that y'all get it together. It may be too late for most. The numbers are still important, defiably so. But y'all are fear-based, and you move accordingly. So the undermining of family structure, authoritarian governments may promote specific family structures that align with their ideology, potentially marginalizing or stigmatizing alternative family forms, education system, the jobs, breaking people down, the banks coming and taking land and homes that they don't have no control over, but because the people don't move as one, because one's comfortable, I'm in my home, I got mine. You think that's normal to feel that way? Or because something happened that instructed those to perform that way? These things are deep. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? Like restricting women's rights. When we look at it, these regimes often undermine women's social status and reproductive rights, limiting their access to education, employment, and political participation. We see that that's changed. But what has that started? It has created more de-evaluation or devaluing family. which is really progressive. So now women feel like, I saw a post this morning with this woman talking about, I'm more masculine than men, than most of the young men today, as if that's supposed to be beneficial and healthy. I didn't even comment on the post. It was on, I think, Instagram or Facebook. And I was like, and I just looked at it and I was like, no, I'm not even going to send a message. Because if the delusion is that strong, that means she's not the only one. And it is not by natural order. Imagine, we could have all been together growing all kind of fruit. I got friends in so-called South America. Heck, we could have got seeds. No one could really stop it. Starch is one of the worst things for you in certain amounts, which you know is mostly cakes, sweets, and all that stuff, other than the granulated sugar that's toxic and poison to your whole being. That's like alcohol doesn't really poison you. It's what it converts to. And y'all should look into that and the liver's function and why it doesn't function. Are you aware I told you, you should be able with frequencies and everything to regenerate limbs? Hell, to grow a whole leg. If you cut off your penis like that rapper all drugged out, it should be able to grow back. Damaged ovaries, lungs. Why is it the only thing that can regenerate is the liver? Because it's the purifier. If there are 50 women out there still nursing, because some women do it all their life, they should really be employed to feed it to men to get their strength back. And women, literally. Not just the cholesterol, but the importance of it. Because right now, everybody's going with the synthetic ideology of what do they do when they take your blood and they give it back to you? Now, the propaganda and ideology behind it, and we're going to look at that right quick. Authoritarian regimes often use propaganda to promote their vision, media, education system, books and news. How many of y'all walk and you get ready to sell your stuff in the line and you see the, the Star magazine and this, that, and you see all these individuals who don't mean nothing. They're part of the problem. But you look at it and you read it anyway, the Inquirer, right? People magazine. These things are part of the programming, the propaganda. Propaganda, programming, grab you, have a gander at, right? And to promote their vision of the family, portraying themselves as the protectors or of traditional values and attacking those who challenge their views. For example, in some authoritarian states, there have been instances where women's reproductive rights have been violated, and families have been targeted for punishment based on the perceived actions of one member. This can include deporting family members of suspected dissidents or individuals deemed a threat, and they're getting rid of people who just work. They don't sell drugs. They've been here for 25. They own houses. And to see Trump playing a part, y'all should know what's really going on. It's not based on perception, but what's perceived from what you see. It's important to know that the specific ways in which authoritarian governments attack the family unit can vary, but the underlying goal is often to consolidate power and control over society by influencing and shaping family structures and dynamics. You are no longer wild and free. Wild doesn't mean running around as perceived by an animal. They want you to be the animal in a cage, as they can dictate, watch you when they want, give you what you want, and you will perform. That means you will own nothing and you will be happy. That's a conditioning. They got to get rid of the numbers. They're doing a pretty good job. They still have the heartless, mindless dummies flying aircraft. All y'all can learn how to fly, and numerous other things. Right? Okay. Now, restricting women's rights, these regimes often undermine women's social status and reproductive rights, limiting their access to education, as we stated. Okay. And that's because authoritarian regimes may restrict access to contraceptive and abortion, aiming to increase birth rates, all right, and control population growth. As we're looking at the one rule, 1979, 2015 in China, those are experiments that all the governments work with. Just like what you see going on in North Korea, all these governments are part of that. You think they're not? These are test beds. How about Iran, when they used to hang homosexuals off of, the back holes, lift them way up. But if you were going through a sex change, It was all right. Is that not Bolshevism? I'm just pointing out a few things, okay? So when we think about these individuals that call themselves something they're not, as you know, I'm going to read this first, and then I'll pull it up. If you don't mind. Okay? Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. They call themselves Jews, but they are not real Jews. They lie. Look, I will make them come and kneel down in front of you. They will know that I have loved you. Okay? Don't pay attention to AI because it lies. But they look at those who belong to the synagogue of Satan who claim to be Jews. And you see it by their acts and their deeds. Why is it that your tax money goes over there to give them free health care, to feed them, to give them a pretty fat bank account, while you struggle and strive with all these politicians, these false lawyers, these false judges? For the judge would be Levitical, and none of them are. Because you see who took over and how they mitigate and what the perversions they put on the land. But look at the Negroes who run to them. Now, I'm not saying there's not a practical use of reality, but imagine if they didn't exist. That means it would be up to the people to reestablish that, and it would have to be civil war. But it would have to be a righteous one, not in the eyes of the beholder, but that which was guaranteed from its enumeration and indoctrination, from its establishment. Okay. I want to play this. I want you to hear this because they're trying to change it so much. And this is Daily Mail, but it's all on YouTube. It's everywhere. I want you to listen because I've been to Germany. I've been and I've learned from the German side. I've learned truths. All right.
Try one of Salad & Go's new $10.99 bundles, designed to fuel you up and go wherever your day takes you. Greens for everyone at Salad & Go.
There are many pictures about the Russian liberating Auschwitz. And
right, this is Anne Frank's, and they say stepsister, her sister. Okay, so listen up.
There's never any snow, and the snow was honestly that high. Mm-hmm. And so I have some connection with the Russian embassy, and I was there once, and I said, something puzzles me. Those photos are fakes because there's no snow. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, yes, they are not fakes, but when the army came, they didn't have cameras, they didn't photograph. Mm. So only much later, when they realized we should have pictures of it, they took pictures like you see now. But this is definitely not in Auschwitz and not the liberation of Auschwitz. There were not that many people with clothes and children and no snow.
What that alludes to in the video, Anne Frank's stepsister and Holocaust survivor Eva Skloss claims photos of the Soviet liberation of Auschwitz are fake because soldiers, let me get this out of the way. Soldiers hadn't brought cameras and were taken at other camps. So this was stated on the 75th anniversary of their liberation. And you got to remember, who were they? They were the Bolsheviks, the ones who were destroying the country. And they weren't being, the bodies that were burned is because they had an outbreak of lice and other terrible diseases. And you got to remember that the Allied forces were bombing the prison camps. There weren't no gas chambers, and the bodies had to be incinerated. That the people who, even though they were eating, their bodies kept throwing up, dysentery, okay? And that's based on facts of old heads who I talked to in Germany. Now, you could better research it and find out for yourself. But what are we dealing with right now besides the destruction of the family, wars, and you see all the wars popping up? What is driving it? There's something ancient here. Something that was never supposed to return. Tardy was part of that, keeping it away. A lot of you still refuse. It doesn't matter how important and serious it is. They still have loyalists, and it's just what it is. I'm not a whistleblower. I just see things. Balance. Remember? I know some of you are still attempting to interpret what I mean by balance. Stop. Stop. You're not going to interpret it. Balance is important. Whether I find it funny or laughable or whatever, it is still very important. There is no balance right now. Okay? You still have rappers in New York and the Bronx, you know, with Busta Rhymes, and they think they're just doing the world with booty shaking and naked videos and all that other stuff. They're lost. Could they be found? Well, when you look at everything else compared to the city of Nineveh, there were more than just 2 cities destroyed. Are there other things? Well, what would be the importance of knowing of other things when you forego the importance of your place right here and right now? Every one of you have played a part one way or another. And some of you are going to forego it, and you're going to maintain, be on that side to ostracize anything that may be relevant or truthful or factual. No, I can dig it. Trust me. I can dig it. Yet, it's paramount. It's indicative of you. To change, to facilitate something else. It may hurt, but it hurt getting to this point. So the change may hurt too. But don't become part of the cowardice. I don't want to see your faces. I really, really, really don't want to see your faces. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I really don't. I know I've probably come across. I just know that I think something's trying to block me from seeing my dream. I've seen it too many times. You can't block it. I don't want to see your faces. I don't even want to play part in the role, but I've accepted. All right. I don't care what people think. I think it's allowed me to be a little more assertive in that field. But if you want to perform those duties that ostracize and destroy, know that you're doing it to yourself. It doesn't matter who or what, the race baiters and challengers and changers, it doesn't. They've been pretty good at what they're doing. And sad to say, I still got to give them hats off. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I know, but it's me, okay? Pretty damn good. But the reality is reality. Until y'all decide to walk away from the delusion, you're going to play a terrible, magnificent role in it. Everyone has choices. Hey, there you go, Slaughter. What's up? Oh, Mag, what's up? Impomoya, what's going on? What's happening? Girls up in the prison. Grand Ascension. Yohade. Drugs also disrupted passing down family knowledge. Absolutely. They're aggravating systems we don't understand. Absolutely. Above and below. Salute, brother. What's going on again, folks? The woman saying that stuff only see about 5% of men and ignore the rest. Absolutely. But that's because of how it's set up. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Buenos dias. Buenos dias, mi gente. I just wanted to share that. All right. I know it took a little bit. I started a little early. So this would have actually been about 30 something minutes. I really wanted to teeter on, but I appreciate you guys. I didn't look to see if anybody donated. I know people get a little dry, but if you did, appreciate it. T and I've got to run in town, grab some garbage bags and stuff, and then I got to come back. And I had to change a couple of things out, take some stuff off. It was leaning a little too far. I got to get off that platform. It's kind of heavy. Yeah, I know I lifted it with one shoulder, and my knees, my back is not the key thing, but I want to start closing it in. I may have to build another door, but we're going to see if we get that thing on top fixed, changed out, get that marked up so where it will be just fine. And we can start getting the insulation. I'm going to have to go to Sierra Vista. I need the insulation, but I can also insulate it when I get down there. When we start working and stuff. They have many places down there. I was online like, God, if I was down there, I could have built 2 or 3 of these with the price and everything. So definitely going to have to, I'm going to need, again, the place they were talking about, $20 a week, is it? For the storage, so we can pack up the trucks before we finish up, bring that stuff down there, get the storage facility, get that stuff packed away. I got the dry sauna and the wet sauna, the cold plunge. I need to pack those in the back of the truck, get those down there as well. And then we're going to start destruction and getting stuff, but we're not going to leave that. We could leave the platform. It's no big deal. I'm not that evil. I've done what I had to do. I broke the branches. When I break the branches, that comes with a whole lot. Because I do move like that. I know things. I understand things. And you would think people are really smart and intelligent, but they must not be when they pull triggers. Well, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Can y'all hear me? Because I had this microphone. Let me put it right here. I know I'm talking kind of slow, low and casual. And I prefer to actually talk this way. Everything else is usually an act. Appreciate the flowers, hon. The feathers, everything. Anyway, I hope that was, because I got to eat too. I hope that was worth its while. I hope that you research it and learn whatever it is you need to learn. Like I said, there's always something around the corner. There's always something implemented going on. But you don't have to allow the placebo effect. You don't have to buy into everything. All right? Okay. You need some iron. I hear you, hon. But I appreciate you guys. All right? I really do. I kind of like this format, and I don't want to just be making up stuff, even though I might state something to it. Research it. Research everything. All right? Stop seeing things for what they've given you and accept it. Start seeing things for how it should be seen and accept that. All right? It's too much confusion. And you know better than I do, I think. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you. I want to eat dirt, but I will not. I wouldn't eat this dirt. All right. Appreciate it, hon. Well, the music's going to play for about 20-something, 30 minutes, so it's not that long to watch. All right? And for those who don't have premium, watch the ads, please. Okay? And I'll see you guys later. May go live when we're riding. I don't know. There's always something to discuss and talk about, right? Appreciate y'all.